Greetings, it is I, the Theosaurus Rex, here for your Writing with Rex, episode 3. This is actually kind of fun. I'm kind of enjoying this. I talk about something, people won't watch it or listen to it, and it's great. So today, I wanted to discuss, we're going to look at the idea of whether or not two lefts make a right. And the answer is no, but 3 do. Anyway. No, we're looking at the idea of ontology, and specifically deontological beliefs. So deontological beliefs are those beliefs that things are inherently right or wrong, and whether or not we have a duty to do those things. So someone who is deontological in their belief system will say, well, it is wrong to lie, and it is always wrong to lie. It doesn't matter why you're lying. Oh, if the Nazis come by, oh, are you hiding Jews in there? Well, yes, I am. Because the deontological person would say it's wrong to do that. Or you could do like what Corey Ten Boom did. Oh yeah, they're right over there, and like point somewhere obviously where they're not. In so doing, they're not lying, but they're not actually hiding the other person out. Whereas an ontological person would be someone that does not differentiate between something being inherently right or wrong. They might say, well, it's only wrong in sometimes, right? And so they might say, well, violence is not the answer unless they're a Nazi, in which case you can punch them, right? They believe in a more of a moral relativistic moral ideas, right? So they're saying, they might argue that, well, it's okay to do things sometimes, as long as, they might say, well, it's okay to have sex with whoever you want, as long as you care about them, right? So they might put their own caveats in there, even though the reality is sex outside of marriage is wrong. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. So, deontological beliefs. And why is that important? Well, deontological beliefs, there's a mindset within them that says that we have a duty to do what is right because it's the right thing to do, right? This whole with great power comes great responsibility. So we need to do what's right because it's the right thing to do, and that what is right and wrong is determined based on law, whether that be the laws of man, like it's wrong to speed, and it's always wrong to speed. Right now, I am going within an acceptable miles over the speed limit, or am I? I could be. So, but a deontological person would say, if it's 70 miles per hour, if you go 71, you're doing what's wrong. And it doesn't matter why you're going 71. It doesn't matter if you're passing the person, you're doing what's wrong. Okay, then we understand the concept, right? So the question is, if things are inherently right or wrong, who gets to determine that? So as a Christian, I would argue that God determines what's right and wrong, and we know what God determines to be right and wrong based on Scripture that God gave us, right? To someone else, they might say, well, man decides what's right and wrong. Okay, well, how does man decide what's right and wrong? They decide through consensus. Okay, the problem with this is, what if consensus changes? Right, we're seeing that now, like within the South, with all these Confederate monuments. Before it was cool to do it, now it's no longer cool to do it. What if what is objectively right or wrong? What if what is wrong changes and the perception of it changes? How do we deal with that? That's the question that the ontological people have to worry about as well, because they might think to themselves, oh, well, let's see, it is wrong to do this. Oh, well, now I'm in a position where it would benefit me to do this, so actually maybe it's not exactly wrong. Okay, anyway, one of the problems that I think Christians run into a lot is that a lot of times being deontological, which I think is kind of the default Christian thing, we need to assume that things are right or wrong at their core and not try to make special cases and special assumptions. One of the things that we run into is, a lot of times saying something is inherently right or wrong requires us to maybe stand up for something that's unpopular. And I'm not just talking about whether or not it's homosexuality or some of the things that like are socially acceptable, but we say is wrong because the Bible said so. Maybe it's standing up against pop culture when in the case of like the Charlottesville thing, where everyone's saying, well, it's totally okay to hit a Nazi, or it's totally okay to treat people bad, or you need to talk about this. And maybe it's saying, well, actually, hold on a second, it doesn't matter, the situation is wrong. Or you say, so in this case of punching a Nazi, we've talked about, well, we haven't talked about it, but I've talked about it in a couple of my videos, talking about how it's wrong to punch a Nazi, because using violence against people who disagree with you is wrong, right? And so notice how I changed it. Not just is it wrong to punch a Nazi, I changed the way that it was worded. And the reason I changed the way it was worded is because that has to do, sorry, I don't have any water or anything to drink, is because it is important to go to the base argument. As someone who is coming from a more deontological thing, it is inherently wrong to punch someone that disagrees with you, right? Or that thinks differently than me. So because it's inherently wrong to punch people, right? And you may say, what about self-defense? Well, I may put in a caveat for that, whatever. But just at its core, to punch someone who hasn't attacked you or whatever is wrong. So what's the next thing? Okay, well, is it okay to punch someone who said mean things to you? No, because it's inherently wrong to punch somebody. What about if they believe something wrong? No, because it's inherently wrong to punch somebody. What if they're attacking you? Well, hold on a second. Now you're defending yourself. Is that a different situation? I would say yes. What if they're attacking other people physically? Then no, it would not necessarily be wrong to stop them from doing it. What if they are attacking someone verbally? Yes, it would be wrong. So see how it kind of goes? But what happens is a lot of times the people who are more moral relativists will go in there and say, well, you know what? It's okay to punch a Nazi because we all agree that Nazis are wrong, right? The problem that puts us deontological people in is that some people will then argue, well, it's in you definitely support all the Nazis. You think the Nazis are good people and that we should not punch them. In fact, we should punch non-Nazis. No, not at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that it is morally wrong to punch people. And so in my Facebook and stuff like that, when I get into discussions, I hold to the deontological facts. It is wrong to punch people who you disagree with, period. Doesn't matter if they're a Nazi. And the thing is, that's being consistent in one's beliefs. So even if you don't believe in a deontological thing, bringing it back to the beginning part, I guess that's where I probably should have gone with. This is one of the problems of not doing this in multiple takes and just doing it in one take and going, is you don't have time to fully flesh out everything. But this is one of the problems, is you aren't consistent in your beliefs. If you say, well, it's wrong to punch so-and-so because I disagree with them, or they shouldn't punch me because we disagree, but it's okay for me to punch them because what they believe is extra evil. Right? Are there people's beliefs that I believe are extra evil? Absolutely. Does that mean they aren't warranted? Does that give me license to do what I want to them? No. In the same way that I wouldn't want license to do what they want against me. Let's say they disagree with me because of my political beliefs or whatever. So it's something to think about, and it's an interesting little tidbit about beliefs. So let's go from the moral relativist thing. Why might someone want to do that? Well, in my personal opinion, I think it's easier because you don't have to deal with as much stuff. You don't have to deal with people saying, "Oh, well, you love Nazis because you think that we shouldn't punch them." Well, yeah, it's easy to do. Because you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to argue for what's right and wrong in that sense. But reasons why people may be moral relativists is because they see certain things as right or wrong. Well, I wouldn't punch anybody, like they might argue. I wouldn't punch anybody that wouldn't actually deserve it. So if I would punch them, then they deserve it. Okay, cool. That was the second time I'm passing them. Very intriguing. Anyway, I wouldn't punch, as I passed these people the other day. Anyway, I wouldn't punch anyone that didn't deserve it. Therefore, if I punch them, they will deserve it. And, so I only save that for some people. Because what they could be doing could be hurting other people. Well, Okay, then let's look at this. Does what a Nazi believe hurt people? Absolutely. Could hurt them emotionally. If given power and free reign to do whatever, then the Nazis' beliefs can definitely hurt people, as we saw in Nazi Germany. The question is, are they currently hurting people? And if you have a protest where the Nazis are being peaceful and they're not attacking people, and you have other people who hate Nazis because of what they stand for, and they go and attack the Nazis, well, who is in the wrong? Well, from a deontological point of view, the people who are wrong are the people that were, if we assume that violence is wrong against people who disagree with you, then it would be the people who are there to oppose the Nazis. Does that make sense? I hope so. Now, in the case of Charlottesville, I think the Nazis were ready for a fight, and they were just waiting for an excuse. Because you can see they showed up there with the shields and the sticks and stuff like that, and they were ready. And like the one guy like pretends to throw a punch in the Antifa, and then the Nazis just go crazy, and they're like, "Wah!" They might not have all been Nazis, I don't know, but anyway. Point being, so when you come at it from a deontological point of view, then you create issues, because in my previous set of statements, it may seem like I'm defending or saying that the Nazis, in our example, are not doing wrong or are not wrong, or that I support them or whatever the case is, which is not the case. All I'm saying is that if you have two people and we were to hold a consistent deontological belief, if you have two people, one of them who may be evil does not do anything wrong, and someone who may be good does something wrong, then we have to call out the person who does something wrong. Does that make sense? I hope so. If not, you didn't pay anything for this, so it's all good. You don't have to take my advice or listen to what I'm saying. I am but a mere cartoonly drawn Tyrannosaurus Rex type creature. And I like to think about theology and philosophy and politics and how everything works together. It's a glorious thing. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful day. I'll just be up. I might start putting this on a podcast too. Then it's all good. If you like it, subscribe. If not, it's all good. It's all good too. Okay, cool. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.